advice for you 24/7. John DePetro on News Talk 630 WPRO and 99.7 FM.
10:35 on this Friday. Good morning. He is in studio. Congressman David Cicilline. Congressman, good morning.
Great to be with you.
Yesterday, Congressman Anthony Weiner, Democrat, resigned. Do you think, should he have resigned?
I think there's no question that he made the right decision for himself, his family, our country. And
what did he do wrong, though? He break the law?
Well, I don't think anyone suggested he broke the law, but I think he exercised grave errors in judgment. I think he acknowledged that pretty clearly. And he determined that it was no longer appropriate for him to remain in Congress and that he couldn't be effective representing his constituents and that it was imposing...
Why? How come? Why can't
I think he has to make that decision.
Because he was flirting with people online?
No, I think he has to make that decision for himself. If he determined that he was...
You had the President of the United States saying, I would resign. You had Pelosi pushing him out. But did he have sex with any of those women?
Well, I don't think that's the question, John.
But he didn't, though.
I understand that, but he determined...
Then why did your party push him out? The Republicans circle the wagons.
True
or false? The Democrats
John, first of all, I don't think anyone pushed him out. I think he clearly thought about this.
Pelosi, the president, said I would resign.
He clearly thought about this, and he decided that it was in the best interest of himself, his family, and our country.
But what was his undoing? He lied.
Yeah, that's right.
Right? So what's the lesson there?
No, I think in addition to that, John, I think...
You see where I'm going with this?
If he had said, when these revelations came forward and he had said, look, I'm embarrassed, I should not have sent these.
And I sent it.
I
and
still
there's
think
more out there.
Right, and I think that would have been very different. I still think some people would say you're a member of Congress, you shouldn't be engaged in that kind of activity. But ultimately, the decision as to whether or not he resigns is a decision he makes. I think he determined...
come on. The President of the United States didn't say, I think you should hang in there. The President of the United States said,
I don't know Anthony Weiner that well, but having served in the last 6 months, I think he's a pretty... Yeah, of course.
Okay.
I think
rising star, maybe future New York?
Very smart
York
guy,
mayor.
very talented. I think, obviously, terrible mistakes in judgment.
All right. Do you meet people online?
No.
No? You're single?
Yes, but I don't.
What is your status? No one ever seems to ask you about that.
I'm single.
You're not in a committed relationship?
Correct.
Okay. Do you see yourself someday getting married?
I'm not even in a relationship, so it's hard to imagine getting married. But
would you like to get married in Rhode Island?
I've never had, I've always had jobs which consumed a huge amount of my life, and so, that presents challenges in terms of starting relationships.
Would you like to get married in Rhode Island someday?
I've been single, and I don't have any intention of getting married. I'm not in a relationship. I don't expect that I'm going to get married.
Do you find it tough to meet people in Washington?
Well, I work, most of my day is working. I obviously have colleagues and friends, but, I meet people.
You're not dating any guys in Washington?
No.
John,
I thought we were here to talk about the important national issues of the day, not my personal life.
If you were a straight male, it would be fair game to ask that. Supposedly, I can't ask you that, but you're the most eligible gay bachelor in Washington. Why can't we talk about that?
I'm happy to let you know if I had a relationship and had a partner you would know about.
Haven't met anyone you like?
No.
Play in the field?
No.
All right. You can
Working hard.
You can meet people online. So there was a party at Chief Esselman's home last Friday night. Mm-hmm. You've heard about it.
Yes.
Any thoughts on it? Have you talked to him? Phone call? Underage drinking at the Chief's house?
I think this just is a reminder that, first of all, underage drinking is a serious issue in this country, in our state, with young people. I think it's an example of that this can occur anywhere in any family. I think it's a reminder to parents to be vigilant about this.
You think he was vigilant?
I think this whole incident's a reminder. My point is that if this can happen with a child of our police chief, it goes to show you that this is something which can occur anywhere in this country, and that people have to take it seriously. Parents have to be vigilant about it, and it's a serious issue in this country.
Any member of your family at the party?
I have no idea. I know I have a niece who's friendly with one of the chief's daughters.
Also, any chance she was there?
I don't know.
You're not sure, or you don't know?
I don't know.
You didn't call her and say, hey, please tell me you weren't at that party?
No, I did not.
Or you didn't call your brother and say?
No, I did not.
So if she was at the party, you're just unaware of it?
Yeah, and again, I don't think there is any question that from at least what I've read, that when the chief learned about this, he removed the kids from the party, et cetera, which was the right thing to do.
But there are reports now that his daughter actually was inviting people and inviting them to BYOB.
Well, that's obviously not appropriate, and I'm sure
it's also illegal.
Yeah.
It's also, we can agree on that, right? Young kids underage are not supposed to be drinking.
Of course.
Okay. And if, in fact, it's proven that they were, they should be held accountable.
The kids.
The kids.
Sure.
Should be punished. Not just because they're the children of prominent people.
Look, underage drinking is wrong. People should be held accountable for it. Absolutely.
Okay. Now, you're a congressman.
Yes.
You've been elected to Congress. It's very reasonable that you want to come in here and talk about what you're doing in Washington. The problem is, and we are going to talk about it, but the problem is you're still linked with the shadow of Providence. So I am going to ask you about that a little bit. But I do want to ask you, why is it, front page of the paper, jobless rate in Rhode Island stagnant at 10.9%. Now, you're one of the people that's supposed to be bringing jobs into Rhode Island. Unemployment is still 11%. How are you failing to bring jobs to Rhode Island?
Well, we have been in Congress now in session for almost 6 months. As you know,
like that question, how are you failing to bring jobs?
How am I personally failing? Look,
you still beating the dog?
I think the number one priority, certainly for me, and I know for many of my colleagues, is getting our economy back on track and creating jobs is obviously the most urgent priority. We put forth just a couple of weeks ago a very comprehensive agenda called Make It in America, which really focuses on rebuilding the manufacturing economy in our country. Very important to Rhode Island. Now, we've lost some of the low-end manufacturing, the kind of costume jewelry. That's not likely ever to come back. But we do a lot of new manufacturing, more high-tech, more highly skilled labor manufacturing. And that sector of our economy is actually growing. And so we put together an agenda which includes the Make It in America block grant, the development of a national manufacturing policy, legislation to prevent the Chinese and other trading partners from cheating and not playing by the rules.
Okay.
So that jobs are not being...
Where does that stand now, though?
Well, here's the challenge.
Board, right?
No, it's not on the drawing board. It's introduced. It's a comprehensive set of packages really to, again, get at growing manufacturing jobs, helping manufacturers grow jobs here in America, not overseas, prevent our trading partners from cheating and not playing by the rules. The problem is, John, we don't have the ability to bring those to the floor for a vote, despite the fact that we are pressing them, because we don't control the agenda, the Democrats. That's
so
a Democrat.
The Republicans' problem.
Well, they will not bring those bills to the floor. No, it's just you know
why,
John?
But if they control it, then should Rhode Island have sent a Republican
John, it's
to
not
Congress
a question.
in the first district?
Let me answer your question. It's not a question of fault, and here's the problem: half the people in the country blame President
Bush. But then you have no control.
Let me finish. Half the people in the country blame President Bush for the economy. The other half blame President Obama. You know what?
I blame Congressman Cicilline for first
neither one of those are going to create jobs and solve the problem. What the American people want and deserve is us to work together.
It's not going to happen.
It's got to happen. We've got to solve some of these big challenges. And we've put forth, I hope, what can ultimately be embraced by the other side of the aisle, a very ambitious agenda on rebuilding things so we can start making things in this country again. We are not going to continue our position as a world economic leader if we don't make things. Instead of exporting jobs, let's export American-made goods.
What about
When's the last time you went into a store and you found a product that said made in the USA?
It doesn't happen.
It's almost impossible. It doesn't have to be that way. It wasn't always that way, but we need good tax policy, good trade policy, good public policies that are supporting that sector of our economy. Those are good jobs.
But what are you going to do about it in the first district? If there's someone unemployed right now in Lincoln and Woonsocket, what is Congressman Cicilline bringing jobs to that district?
Well, John, that's exactly what this agenda does. It will provide assistance for manufacturers to retrofit their factories, retrain their workers,
but the Republicans
increase their
control it, right?
No, but there are things we can still do. For example, just last week, I brought the president and chairman of the Import-Export Bank of the United States to Rhode Island to talk about the way he can help Rhode Island manufacturers increase their exports and thereby increase jobs, both through access to capital, access to risk mitigation by buying insurance. Again, there are lots of tools that we can bring to help small businesses in our state. But the reality is, we've put forth some very, very good legislation that will help to rebuild this economy, the economy of our country. We don't have the ability. You know what instead we've done? The Republicans have put forth a proposal to make sure we preserve tax breaks for the biggest oil companies in our country in the billions of dollars. Put out another tax break for the people, the millionaires and billionaires in our country. Preserving tax breaks that our companies are taking advantage of, that are shipping our jobs overseas. That's wrong. Those things are undermining our economic recovery.
Folks.